Where do you see the difference between justice and vengeance, in kind of in a death penalty case? Because if you put the guy in jail for life, they're obviously not going to be out killing more people. And also, what are we trying to do? Like, by killing these people, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to scare other criminals out there? Or is it just that, no, you did a bad thing, you die for it? Like, what do you think the line is between justice and vengeance?
I think that's a tough issue, right? Because justice has an element of vengeance in it, and it has an element of deterrence in it, right? And so now when you get into the deterrence argument, I know that most progressives are not with me on this, but I do believe there is a deterrence value. I think that it's a spectrum. The lighter the punishment, the less you're going to be deterred. The heavier the punishment, the more you're going to be deterred. It's a spectrum. It's not a binary thing. Some people will never be deterred because they're on the extreme end of the spectrum, right? But so to me, that is a part of the justice argument. The other part of it is the vengeance part that you're talking about. And I don't have a problem with that. If someone kills someone that I love, I want vengeance. And I think that's part of justice, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't have that degree of justice, that then cascades into, I think, a number of other problems, mm-hmm. where then it manifests itself in unhealthy, unproductive ways. As a society, we have to be smart, we have to be fair, right? But we do have to deliver justice. If we don't deliver justice, it creates other problems in society.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in terms of that deterrence argument, I mean, I would say that I would say that that's beyond a partisan argument, because I think that it is not a deterrent, because the states that have, Texas, obviously is executing more people than anyone, but I think they're like 17th on the states that have the highest murder rates. And I have the stat here, but of the top 10 states with the highest murder rate, I think 9 of them have the death penalty. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and also...
No, I hear you on that. And it's a fair point, and people make that point all the time. And the problem is we don't execute enough people. Now, again, I'm not for executing them under these circumstances, et cetera. And I know that it sounds, to a lot of progressives as far too barbarian, et cetera. But the reality is that it has to have some degree of certainty. If you think that it's going to happen maybe 12 years later or 22 years later, and it happens to a small percentage of people, then it doesn't carry the deterrence value. So now, if we were more certain, again, and at this point, I think I'm not sure we can ever be certain enough, right? Right. And we deliver that justice in a timely, certain fashion, then I think then deterrence would become much more of a factor. But right now, I mean, it's a total crapshoot as to whether you're ever going to get a death penalty or not. Yeah, and also I think that a lot of times, when people are committing crimes, they're not thinking them way ahead of time, like, oh, geez, what's going to happen? Like they're crimes of passion, they're crimes out, out of anger in the moment, or people clearly not thinking straight, or of course, like most criminals, they think they're going to get away with it. Mm-hmm. It's like, and because I don't think anyone is looking at murdering someone and saying, well, geez, the worst that could happen is I go to jail for the rest of my life. I mean, I've been wanting to catch up on my reading and my push-ups and in my anal rape. Oh, there'll be no big deal. I'll just do that. Like, no, I hear you, and that's an attractive argument as well. But to me, again, it's a spectrum, right? So if you told people, if you do this crime, there is 100% certainty that you will be caught and 100% certainty that you will be executed, we would have far less capital crimes. I think it's a logical certainty, right? The problem is, where are you in that spectrum? Even though it seems like it's a rash decision you make in the moment, first of all, not all murders are. Some of them are very much premeditated. And second of all, even within that, the human mind still makes that calculation instinctually fairly quickly. It might make the wrong calculation, and often does, and you're certainly never going to determine all crime or all murders, right? But I think you can deter more if you have more certainty and more severity.